Hey everyone, it's Krystallee here. Is your romantic relationship stressing you out to the point where you're losing your self-worth and self-esteem all within it? And regardless if you're married, in a long-term relationship, short-term relationship, casual relationship, it all comes down to how you feel within it. And sometimes there can be problems that arise. Maybe not even your problems. Maybe they're their problems, their insecurities, their issues. And unfortunately, it gets in the way and meddles in your relationship. It arises, it kind of gets mixed in, and you're maybe dealing with things that aren't even your responsibility, don't even belong to you. But because you're in a relationship, it's a two-way street. You probably do it too. And everybody needs a support and helping hand sometimes, just a shoulder to lean on. But sometimes, when it's to the point where it's actually causing some stress on your relationship, you're noticing you argue more, you're feeling stressed all the time, maybe you're losing touch with communication, losing touch with each other physically and intimately. This can really start spiraling you into a depressed and anxious state. And losing your self-esteem and self-worth during this time when there's all this aggression and pent-up anger and perhaps just some impatience and misunderstandings, all this kind of gets mixed in, and it's very easy to lose your self-esteem and self-worth at that point because you're so emotionally attached. But rather than being dragged down by it, and of course, easier said than done, you have to make a decision how this will affect you. What if you're able to not allow it to bring you down, but be able to be a matter of fact about it, or be able to take it in a way where you're reading into it differently. Your perception is different. It doesn't drag you down, but you can actually analyze it and look at it from their point of view. And we know in any type of relationship, communication is so crucial. It's a critical factor in any good, healthy relationship. But when those lines start breaking down, we need to know how to rebuild them, and that starts with ourselves. And we have to decide then, are these problems our problems? And can I help this individual sort through their problems? You will not be the answer, and you cannot give them the answer, but perhaps you can seek some resources around them so they can get the answer. And so you can also get the answer as well. But we have to know where the boundaries lie within our relationships themselves. And sometimes it can be a gray zone because we've opened ourselves up for trust and some sincerity about the fact that we're able to let this person into our lives and see some of our most raw, intimate parts of our lives. But you have to know where to put the boundary of where your self-worth and self-esteem lie. And when you notice that this is kind of going down that spiral pathway, it's time to start stepping back and evaluating what's going on, the scenario that's happening, your role and responsibility in this relationship, and how you're showing up, how you're doing. And if you're not doing so well, then you need to harness some strength to figure out what you can do to start feeling better and start problem solving this situation. And it takes two to tango. You can't tango by yourself. So in a relationship, perhaps one individual is prepared to do some work and yet the other person is just on a different level. You have to decide if this is going to work or not, if you're on mutual grounds, if everybody's pulling their weight and lifting the same thing. And if they're not, perhaps there's something that you need to work on or talk about or decide if this is actually worth doing or not, because you don't want this to start affecting you in negative ways where you start feeling sense of isolation and depression, which really does make it a very isolating situation. You feel like you have nowhere to turn and no one will understand you. So, really stepping back and looking at the problems that you're experiencing and your own habits, attitudes, behaviors, actions, and emotions, as well as looking at the other person as well, and really gauge it for your own self. Put it in both hands, the left hand, right hand, and see where the scale lies. And sometimes we can't change the other person. Actually, not sometimes, all the time. We can inspire them to change, but they have to make that choice. And you also have that choice as well to choose how you want to be, how you want to show up, and what is the best version of yourself. And if you're not there yet, then this is a great time to start doing that soul searching, that deeper discovery of who you are, what you are, how you are, who you want to be, how you want to show up, and your thoughts of your own self. And building self-esteem is not always easy when we're in a negative environment. Knowing our self-worth is also not easy to identify when we're in this environment. So we really have to channel in and tune in to the situation, the people involved, and sincerely ourselves, as hard as that may be. So comment below on maybe some things that you feel you're bringing to the table that are contributing to things or maybe making things worse or you'd like to change. And I hope you're able to get some value out of that today. I'll see you soon.